What's up guys, it's SJ and we're back. I won't dilly-dally, we're going to get straight into it, but firstly, I want to say that I'm not AI. Okay, some people are saying, or asking, are you AI? Are you this, are you that? No, I'm not AI. So, we're going to get straight into it with some true confessions. Just wanted to get that out of the way. But if you could like, subscribe, share, comment, please comment what you like, what you don't like. The channel's goal is 1,500 subscribers, okay? We're about 150 away. I reckon we can do that. So let's get it, okay? Alright, let's go. My 29F girlfriend, 27F of 4 years, just told me she's pregnant. I'm a woman, so it can't be mine. But she swears she didn't cheat. What do I do? I'm still in shock, so bear with me. My life feels like a soap opera right now. Apologies, this will probably be long. Here's some background. My girlfriend Anna and I have been together for 4 years, with intentions of getting engaged sometime this year. To clarify, we are two women in a relationship. I'm a lesbian, always have been, but Anna is bisexual and has had serious relationships with men in the past. This has never been an issue for us because we love each other and have a healthy and stable relationship. But now, as you can imagine, I'm second guessing everything. What went down? Right. In the last month, Anna had been complaining about putting on weight, particularly in her stomach area. Anna is thin and athletic, so the little belly she developed is noticeable. She's been going to the gym more and started eating much healthier than she normally does. We didn't notice any improvements with her weight loss, but I told her that it takes time and that she will eventually lose the weight. Pregnancy never, ever crossed my mind, for obvious reasons. Last week, she really started freaking out about her weight gain, so she scheduled a doctor's appointment. She had the appointment yesterday afternoon and afterwards called me at work and told me that we needed to talk. I could tell she had been crying. I'm freaking out at this point, thinking that she's terminally ill or something. I start tearing up, asking her to tell me what's wrong, but she insists on meeting me at home. I leave work immediately and get home to see her sitting on the couch, her face puffy from crying. I'm shaking and tears are streaming down my face. I ask her about the doctor's appointment and what is going on. She can barely get the words out through her sobs. She tells me that she went to the doctor and that they told her that she's 13 weeks pregnant. I stop crying, but my brain is trying to comprehend what she just told me. All I could say was, "What?" over and over. She's still sobbing, saying she's so confused and she has no idea how this happened. I have never really seen her in a state like that. She seems genuinely upset and confused, but then again, so am I. As I started registering what is going on, I ask, "Did you sleep with someone?" And she only starts crying more, swearing on her life that she didn't sleep with anyone. So I'm like, "But you did. You're pregnant. There is no way that you didn't cheat on me." To which she replies, "I have no freaking clue how this happened, but I swear to God, I didn't sleep with anyone. You have to believe me." We go back and forth for 30 minutes or so, both of us still confused. I told her that I need to think, so I called a friend and spent last night at his house. I've been talking with friends and everyone is confused but agreeing that Anna must have cheated on me. I keep playing over our conversations in my head though. Like, if she knew that she had slept with a guy and that she could be pregnant, why would she go to the doctor? Why wouldn't she just have gotten an abortion secretly? She could have used a Plan B pill just in case. Like, she could have gotten away with this. Maybe I'm being foolish here, but it genuinely seems like she had no idea why she was gaining the weight in her stomach. A couple nights, we talked at length about possibilities, why she was gaining weight just in that region, and pregnancy never crossed our minds. I'm also playing back the potential date that she could have cheated on me, considering she's 13 weeks along. We live together and have similar work schedules. We both work 9 to 5 jobs. And if I'm thinking of the right week that this could have happened, there is nothing that stands out of the ordinary to me. There weren't any late nights or suspicious activity that would have concerned me. I feel like I'm driving myself crazy, and I feel like I can't trust her. She's been texting me, asking if we can talk, and I told her that I need more time. I want to believe that she's telling me the truth, but I can't think of any reason how she could be pregnant without having slept with some guy. But it's all so confusing, given the situation. So, Reddit, what are your thoughts? Does my girlfriend have a case of lesbian immaculate conception? Or am I being a fool for doubting that she cheated on me? How do I handle this situation, and how do I talk to her? Everything feels very confusing right now. Thanks in advance for reading. TLDR, my girlfriend just told me that she's pregnant, but with 2 women in a relationship. She's devastated and swears that she didn't cheat on me. Where do I go from here? And then there's some relevant comments, and they go like this. I think you know the right answer here. You don't just magically get pregnant. Yeah, she could have hidden it and secretly gotten an abortion, but she in all likelihood didn't think anything of it until it was too late. Maybe they used a condom and it broke, or he pulled out or something and she was convinced it couldn't be a pregnancy, or just didn't want to believe it. Denial is extremely powerful. Some people will deny till the day they die, but she's in a relationship with you, a woman, and she's pregnant. This isn't one you can deny. Logic says she may as well come clean, but good luck with that. 99.9% chance she cheated. The only other explanation is she was drugged and R-worded or something, but that's a big leap into the let's find a way to rationalize the crap out of this zone. Good luck with this. My money is on she was unfaithful, as it's obviously the frickin' answer. And the OP replies, maybe the answer that she cheated is obvious here, but it's also difficult to explain to a bunch of strangers just how upset she was when she told me. I can't expect internet strangers to know the intimacies of our relationship, but I would not be posting here if I didn't think there was a slight chance that she was actually telling me the truth. And then there's an update, and it goes like this. So a lot has happened since the original post. Thank you to everyone that responded with helpful comments. It seems like most people came to 3 possible conclusions with Anna's pregnancy. She cheated on me and got pregnant. She was the victim of a drugging scenario and doesn't remember anything. And the doctor is wrong. After spending the night at my friend's house and ignoring Anna's calls and texts, I decided to see her the next day to talk. We made a plan to meet at our house after work. I wasn't sure what to expect from our conversation. I thought I might get a confession of her cheating on me, or something along those lines. So, we met at home. She asked me how I was doing, and I told her I was still pretty confused and upset. She understood, and then I said, I have to know, did you sleep with someone, or cheat on me, or come near sperm in any way, shape or form since we've been together? She swore up and down that she did not, very sincerely. She said, I know that this is freaking crazy and literally unbelievable, but I swear to God I didn't cheat on you. I'm just as confused as you are. I still wasn't entirely convinced, so I asked her about the doctor's visit specifically. She did not get an ultrasound, they only took a urine sample. I guess she told them her symptoms. They took a urine sample, concluded she was pregnant, and sent her on her way. I asked why they gave her a specific gestation period, and she didn't know. I'm not entirely sure why they did either. Of course, I was like, did you tell the doctor that it's impossible that you're pregnant? That you've been with a woman for the last 4 years? And the doctor gave her grief for it. Essentially implied that she must have slept with a man because she's pregnant, and that's why she was experiencing her symptoms. I'm not sure if this is a common occurrence for a doctor, but she said he seemed completely unfazed by her claims of her not having slept with a man. For those of you that mentioned her period, Anna has an irregular period. Sometimes she gets it, and sometimes she doesn't. So there was no cause for alarm when she didn't get a period for 3 months because A, she can't get pregnant, and B, more intimate time for us. I guess the doctor saw the signs of a positive pregnancy test and a lack of period, and pregnancy was the most reasonable option. After hearing about that, I said that she should schedule another doctor's appointment with a different doctor as soon as possible. She told me that she had the appointment the next day, yesterday. We decided it was best that I go with her to the appointment. The first order of business with a new doctor was the ultrasound. I sat with Anna as they put the gel on her stomach, and I was honestly sweating bullets. I kept thinking to myself, what if she's actually pregnant? I thought I was going to pass out, but Anna seemed calm. They confirmed that Anna is not pregnant, but she had a mass on her ovary that was a cause for concern. It was one of the most emotionally confusing moments of my life. Anna and I looked at each other, not sure if we should celebrate the not pregnancy or cry or what. Anna still has more appointments, but the new doctor gave her the diagnosis of stage 1 ovarian cancer. This explains the positive pregnancy test and the bloated stomach. This also explains why she wasn't able to lose the weight in her stomach. The doctor also mentioned that the irregular periods should have been a sign of concern for Anna, as women with irregular periods can be more at risk for ovarian cancer. I'm devastated and hopeful. Anna is still in shock, as she has been through a lot in the past couple of days. I'm supporting her the best I can, and we're figuring out a game plan. Naturally, we're both terrified of what's to come. This will be a huge part of her life and my life, and probably put our plans to get engaged / married / have kids on hold, if she can even have kids after all of this. Anna even joked about the fact that she wishes she actually had been pregnant with the Messiah. That way, we could keep the kid and not have this horrible diagnosis. So, I guess this is a happy / sad update. Thanks to everyone for reading. And then TLDR, girlfriend isn't pregnant but has cancer. The Messiah hasn't returned. And then there's some relevant comments, and they go like this. There's one, actually, sorry, and it goes like this. I'm so sorry to hear. The first doctor who was so dismissive of her insistence that she hadn't slept with a man should probably be scolded for this. Then the OP replies, when she explained his reaction to me, I was livid. Call me an angry man-hating lesbian, but the second doctor was a woman, and she was honestly one of the most helpful and supportive doctors I have ever encountered. And that is the last we hear from the OP. My 15-year-old idiot kid got his girlfriend pregnant on purpose. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I, 30F, have a child who is 15M. We'll call him Ollie, plus other children aged 2, 6, 9, and 11. As you can tell by my own age, I was a teen parent. I was lucky, and we married at 18, still married, healthy relationship, worked our way out of a very dire situation. Graduated, started a trade, etc., and we're comfortable, stable in all ways. This information is relevant. Ollie has been friends with this girl, we'll call her Bree, since he was 7 years old. Their family used to live in the same city as us and went to the same school, same friendship group. We know her parents and are long-distance friends ourselves. Not close friends, but say hello when the kids are on video chat, had drinks together before. Bree's family moved to a very small town 3 states away due to rental affordability. No secret. We all have talked about the rising costs of everyday life. The cost of living in this city has risen, forcing many locals out. They moved because of that and for better job opportunities 18 months ago. Since then, Ollie has been begging for us to follow, giving us a sales pitch on cheaper housing, better paying jobs, none of which fit either of our professions, the whole works. We have said no because, well, no. But even if we wanted to, our other children are in school, sports, and have friends here. Selling and buying another house, finding work outside of our skill set or having to learn new skills. Any normal adult would understand this. He does not. Well, fast forward to Christmas. Bree's family came back to our city for a holiday and the kids met up multiple times with each other. It was my understanding that they were always with the other kids, but obviously not, since Bree is pregnant and I'm certain it was on purpose. He has access to condoms. I don't care for opinions on that. My access was restricted and I had him. He had sex ed from me, my husband, my school. He knows damn well how babies are made and how not to have one. Ollie now wants me to move to be with her and the baby. It's confirmed, I've talked to her parents, and I said no. I don't feel I need a reason, but he asked. You're 15. We don't have any proof it's your child yet. I'm not moving us away from our lives, and you aren't going alone until you're 18. We will do a DNA test, then we will look at parenting plans. And topped it off with a too bad, too sad. You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. He took that back to Bree, and now all communication between me and her parents has been cut. I'm a terrible person. My comments about the DNA test are disgusting, and it's fueling my son's hate for me. He says I'm keeping him from the love of his life and future baby, using my own successful relationship as proof it will work out. I actually don't even know if I'm right or not. I'm just really upset and feel like my life I worked really hard for has been destroyed. And then there's an edit to answer some questions. She is due September around the 22nd, so no, there is no option for abortion. I don't think that or adoption ever was. Ollie admitted it was on purpose last night. Apparently, it was Bree's idea first as a joke that turned into a plan together. Bree's parents were only passed messages through my son, and I have heard this for myself. I stood outside the door and listened to them tell him, "Tell your mother, insert info below, because I know I will just go off on her about that BS still." They are still talking crap about me with my kid. They are appalled I would think that way of Bree when I've known her for more than half her life and do not wish to talk to me. I will not allow him to move out there alone. There are some past issues, such as Bree breaking up with him twice in the last 18 months because she found someone that she liked more from her new town. Around August and October last year, same boy. And when it ended, she came back to Ollie. Bree is a nice girl, but her behavior is toxic and has been since she was a child. Her mother and stepfather are nice, but the relationship is unstable. The house is chaos, 9 children combined, blended family, and 2 out of 3 teens with serious mental health struggles. He would be leaving stability for chaos and no structure. I want a DNA test. I will not budge on that. I am close to cutting his contact totally at this point because they are only empowering him and reinforcing his behavior towards me and his father. His father is a man of few words, which is unhelpful. So far he's backed everything I've said and only really chosen to say, "You have the intelligence of a bear." And then there's another update, and it goes like this. Things have gone south even further. At this point, husband and I have been blocked on all social media and numbers blocked, but the communication with Ollie has continued. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email to, but before using that, I asked him to video chat Bree with me there, and then I could ask Bree to please get her parents so I can talk to them about this and tell her that if they are going to continue to refuse, then I would be blocking all contact to Ollie and communication until this is resolved. I told Ollie this before the call. At first he flipped out about it, but it was this or I cut communication completely. I do think he understood that it is not okay that her parents are speaking to me through minors, and he himself said he would like us to talk to each other. Bree joined the call and hung up when she saw I too was there. Ollie called back a few times and she didn't answer. She asked via text why I wanted to talk to her, and Ollie told her that I wanted to speak to her mother, and if we didn't resolve the communication issue, then all contact would be ended until her parents made contact with us. And we made a plan for the next few months, including DNA and then birth arrangements. Said that if the baby is his, we will travel there for the birth and first few weeks after. He told her that I personally think it probably is his baby, but I want to be sure and make sure everything is done right from the start. Well, Bree blocked him with a reply, and he's totally heartbroken, not eating, sitting in his room all day and night, not mad at me surprisingly. Very, very sorry for him, and to us, sad about it all, and I think regretful. He even asked me if there was a way to undo it for himself. I haven't talked about signing over rights, a male abortion, his father called it, because I think he's just upset right now. A mutual friend of Bree and Ollie's here in our hometown showed him a few posts she had made in the last 24 hours. Things like, "It's you and me against the world, baby girl," and memes about deadbeat dads. She also announced the pregnancy, which she hadn't done yet, and the posts had some single mother facts and quotes. Ollie's friends knew about the situation, and a few were under the impression he had dumped her and the baby, going by the posts, but when he explained what had happened, they all rallied for him in the comments. I said not to, and now she's blocked them, and we can't see what she has posted. This is just a nightmare. I have had a plan personally, not set, but something I wanted to talk to a parent about, but I don't even want to waste my time at this point. By the way, it is written like this. I'm trying really hard to make it sound comprehensible, so bear with me. Let's go. Ollie gave us Bree's parents' email address to send an email to with said plan. Basically, Bree does DNA blood tests. We will pay the full $1,500 for it. If it is his baby, we can book flights and plan to be there for the first month. I'll stay too with Ollie, maybe even the whole family, and then we can also work on a parenting plan and getting into mediation for a judge to sign off on it. Ollie's father and I split for the first 7 months of his life, so we have done this before and we know the process. But at this point, I think I would just leave it to settle before sending an email. Or as the OP wrote, a email. This was written really strangely, but again, bear with me please. And then there are some relevant comments, and they go like this. Nobody going to point out both children are manipulative? Obviously the girl was on board, and it sure seems like they had both kept it under wraps until it couldn't be aborted. Both children are bad actors here. And then the OP replied to that saying this. Literally saying this. I think it was planned 100% on both sides, and this was Christmas. She's around 24 weeks, I believe, and way past abortion. They also never told us until 20 weeks. Her family knew, but never contacted me. And then another commenter writes, quite the manipulative teen you've got there. But, by teen logic, his plan makes perfect sense. From any point of view, you can't give in to his plan though. It would ruin you financially, ruin his relationship with his siblings, and yours with him. I would give him a detailed plan on how you and your partner manage to rise above all the risks of teen pregnancy. Focus on school, plan ahead, make sure the village is on board, and of course, how lucky you both were that it all worked out, despite having to sacrifice so much. How does he expect you to support his child without your jobs? But he made the choice to become a parent, so now he will have to do what you did. Focus on school, get stability, make sure to stay in his and her parents' good graces so they can be the village they will desperately need. There is nothing he can do to support his girlfriend physically, and as a jab, he's done enough physical support for a good while to come. He doesn't have a job, no way to provide financially. All he can do is focus on being able to do that as well and as soon as possible. So by the time he's all ready, By the time he's ready to go partying, no he isn't. He's going to bed early to get up for his weekend job to save up for his kid. Edit to add, I just realized that if this becomes a family tradition, you'll be great-great-grandparents by the time you turn 60. And then another commenter wrote, he's 15. You get to make the decisions and you're doing the right thing. No way can you move your whole family because of this. The responsible thing is to do a DNA and set up a parenting plan. He won't like your decisions, but that's too bad. Sometimes being a good parenting is making decisions our kids hate us for. This is a result of their bad choices, not yours. And another commenter writes, reality is about to hit that kid like a frickin' train. And another commenter says, a 15-year-old does not get to dictate terms on uprooting the whole family and ripping his siblings away from the lives they know. A 15-year-old does not tell his parents what they'll do. Full stop. Junior here can sit down and reflect on how badly he has fricked his own future. This is the limit of his power right now. He's 15. He will do as he is told. You can see here that he has the decision-making skills of the average parakeet. Feel free to tell him that. He does not even know if it's his child. Insist on that. And then there's an update. And it goes like this. Ollie's friend was able to see her Instagram through an old account. Different email. I don't use Instagram enough to know what that means, but it meant that they weren't blocked when they reactivated. They found the pregnancy announcement post, and if you scrolled across it, showed a digital copy of the scan Bree sent us as a 16-week scan. Apparently, the first scan she had at the OB. That is dated 0404 and clearly says GA 19 plus 3 weeks, making an August due date, I believe, or very early September. This would not line up with the due date given to us, but does line up with when her parents told me she was pregnant mid-April. They told us, we've had the pregnancy confirmed, and sent a photo of the printed pic, which the date isn't on there. I actually think it may have been cut off at the top. I haven't told Ollie this yet because I want to be sure. I'm very concerned about his mental health at the moment and taking that into consideration. But unless she gave the wrong period dates and the baby measured only 16 weeks, then it's not possible for it to be our son's. Also, added information, her due date from what we know is September 22nd. She was here from December 20th to January 7th and saw Ollie December 21st and 22nd, and January 4th and 5th. Never overnight. I asked Ollie when did this happen, and he said January 4th was the only time, which makes more sense as they were in public gatherings otherwise. They were at a mutual friend's birthday that night, but never stayed overnight. I've had 5 kids, and I know the dates are too close to figure it out that way. Ollie also said that the joke Bree made was to just see if it happens. The pregnancy, because then it's obviously meant to be, and he would be able to move. To me it sounds like she had the plan a lot longer, but I may be biased here. And then there are some relevant questions. Yeah, this is really confusing with the way she's writing at the OP, but bear with me. Right, the relative comments go like this. Somebody says something like, is OP cutting her son's communication off with Bree? And the OP replies, sorry if it sounds childish, I'm only updating because I have no one to ask or talk to. I don't want to reach out to other parents I know or Facebook without knowing it's actually my son's child first, and to be honest, I'm embarrassed. I threatened to cut off Ollie's contact to Bree only because her parents were encouraging his attitude towards us at home. And then there's another commenter, and they write, so what you're saying is that the most immature people in this situation are Bree's parents? I expect teenagers to make questionable decisions, although generally not to the extent of get pregnant on purpose so we can force people to move, but the parents are a whole new level of WTF. And then Yopi replies, I'm wondering if Bree has somehow maybe manipulated the situation here. I couldn't imagine being like this, and the family I have met before did not appear this irrational in the past. And then another commenter writes, is her social media public or private? If it's public, then sign out, and some social media sites, you can see them without being a member. Then you can track what she posts. Are you even sure she's actually pregnant? Is she showing yet? Has she sent ultrasound photos? She could be lying about being pregnant in the first place. The fact she blocked your son and friends shows it's probably not his. Hopefully your son realizes how horrible this girl and her really are. And then the OP replies, her parents confirmed she was pregnant. She's not really showing, no. She sent an ultrasound photo, but it's a photo of a photo. I want to keep access to her social media to see if she uploaded on that showed more information so I could check dates. I will see if your advice works. And another commenter writes, definitely don't budge on the DNA test. You never know, especially with her seeing the other boy. And another commenter writes, honestly, the parents' reactions to the whole situation is very odd, especially if you claim they didn't seem this way in the past. I agree with the sentiment that Bree might be twisting the narrative to her parents, just as she is twisting it online with the whole deadbeat dad posts. I would very much stay firm with the DNA test. This might sound bad, but honestly, I wouldn't trust her without proof based on her current actions. And then there are two more quick updates, and they read like this. I spoke to Bree's biological father, who lives in this town, who had no idea about any of this. Before he come for me, there was no known DV or anything like that. I felt I had run out of options at this point, and I just wanted a way to contact them. Bree's mother then made contact, agreed to the blood test if we paid for it. Ollie and Bree spoke again, and Bree asked to come here for a holiday and have an ultrasound with him to prove dates in person. I agreed to this, but I may not be thinking straight with the stress we have all been under. She says she is 26 weeks, sent him a photo of her belly, which has grown, and told him there was no other option but him to be the father, that the ultrasound had to go by her last period date, and she didn't remember, so she went by her app, and it was the period before. That's why the dates are out on the scan. I asked if she had a physical booklet of pregnancy notes or something, because I know from experience that they have all the confirmed information on them. But she said that everything is digital with her doctor, and I didn't want to push because it's not my medical info. I'm wondering if I do just fly her out here on my own terms, her mother agreed, and do the blood and ultrasound here and put an end to it all. And then we get the final update, and it goes like this. Let's go. We all came to a travel arrangement. We paid for Bree to fly out, and her father was paying for the ticket home. Bree was supposed to fly to us this morning and stay for 6 weeks, total flying back sometime in August. Her father's in charge of that flight. She was staying with us over these next few weeks while we do our annual 4th of July family vacation for a week, and then a couple more weeks back here at home for the ultrasound/blood test. This was decided together, both families, because Bree and Ollie would like to have some kind of positive experience/memories during the pregnancy, and obviously if the baby wasn't his, Bree would be taken to her father's and we would be all finished with it all. But she never turned up for her flight. She texted the night before the doctor did not recommend she should not travel as she is at risk of preterm labor due to her age, and her severe morning sickness makes her only be able to tolerate pineapple juice. So she's needing to be hospitalized and maybe even deliver early. This is on top of a group photo that includes Bree, obviously pregnant in a tight tee, hugging the boy she was dating in her new town, his hand on her belly. It was quickly removed from her story when Ollie asked, I think it was intentional, to make him jealous. I am done. I do not believe her or her parents. I've contacted a lawyer and a therapist. I will not be updating again until I know the outcome of the DNA test that I assume will not be done until after the baby is born, since I was told today. I cannot force her to have while pregnant. If this baby is Ollie's and my grandchild, I'm willing to move Bree here and have her live with us. It has no chance and will not continue to ruin my son's life from afar. Okay, and there is one final update. It was kind of hidden, but I've got it because it was about to end on that. Like, it wasn't going to give a conclusion, but this might be the conclusion, so let's get into it. Update 6. Let's go. I didn't plan on updating prior to the DNA test, but I can confidently say we do not need it to know the truth. We will likely still do one if Bree sticks to her story, only I will go through the courts at this point. We have a family lawyer and he has advised these updates are fine as long as I do not identify anyone by name, location, etc. I had a lot of helpful messages on here and I do read them all even if I don't reply. One was from a radiographer who suggested that I take a look at the measurements of the baby on the ultrasound if I'm able to get scan pictures and then use that to calculate if the baby was 16 weeks on that scan. I've kept that in mind if I ever get the chance to see the scan myself. The same Redditor also raised concerns that she only had this one scan at 16 weeks and there wasn't a 20-week scan again 4 weeks later. All OBs would do a scan at 18 to 22 weeks. The one photo we have seen is a photo of a scan, a profile shot of the baby's face at 16 weeks, and there hasn't been another scan since then. We have been playing it safe and being very careful with how we tread around Bree, not wanting to cause any arguments. We have not mentioned this to them yet, and if by chance someone tells them via this post, or if they know about this post, we don't care. We have nothing to lose since the baby isn't Ollie's, and this is how I know. Bree and Ollie have many mutual friends, but only one other girl, Hannah, who is still friends with both of them from within the group. Hannah believes Ollie is the father because that's what Bree says, but she had a falling out with Bree this week. It led to her talking to Ollie, and then she sent Ollie a video that Bree sent her after the ultrasound in April. Prior to this, Bree had told her not to show him because he wasn't going to be in the baby's life by choice, and all the things she was posting about deadbeat dads. The video shows multiple measurements being done, and I was able to see clearly that the baby measured 19 weeks, and that scan was the 20-week scan. There is no way that baby is Ollie's. She's due August 26th. Ollie knows all of this and is doing okay. Very angry, but he has the support he needs. What happens now, we don't know, but we do know the truth. All we can do is speculate as to why my son was the target of this plan. I know we will likely never know the truth. To clear some things up, I will not be taking this up with Bree and her family until after the baby is born. I'm not concerned about the DNA test results, but will still do one. In the video, the OB/nurse, whoever it was doing the scan, says, "So your due date is August 26th, which lines up perfectly for your last period." So I know that's the due date, and you can clearly see the numbers on screen showing the measurements are 18 to 19 weeks. Ollie cannot be the father. She wasn't even in the state. There is plenty of other, more detailed clues I have, but will not post. I think the father is the boyfriend in that town, but what I don't understand is why Ollie was better. Yes, there is more money, but we aren't rich. We just live smart. Thanks for the support. And then, Jesus Christ, there are some relevant comments, and this commenter says, if she had unprotected, the deed, with multiple people, then you need your son to get tested for everything. Ollie's lucky to have parents who are looking out for him. And the OP replies, we have done. He's been given the all clear, thank goodness. And another commenter writes, Good that you're protecting Ollie. Are you planning to do anything on his lying manipulative behavior? Left unaddressed, he has the potential to manipulate not only you, but others, including his friends, future partners. And the OP replies, therapy. And then a commenter replies to that, to the OP saying therapy, would love to know what exactly you've done when it comes to consequences inside the home. He obviously needs therapy, but therapy isn't a consequence, it's a necessity. It seems like you've let him off the hook for everything because you feel bad that he's sad. That's not enough. This commenter needs to shut up, bro. And the OP replied, we believe in natural consequences rather than punishments. So a natural consequence for this situation is exactly what's happened. A natural consequence for the intention to manipulate us to move, etc. is now the loss of trust, and with the loss of trust comes the loss of freedom until that trust is earned. There you go. But if I'm totally honest, my kid just needs therapy and support at this point. He's lost everything. His confidence, his reputation, his girlfriend, even if for the better, a large majority of his friends, and their parents who now don't want him around their kids, etc. Just because we know that the baby isn't his, doesn't mean the rest of the world around us does. Bree still insists it is, and most believe her. He is being punished, but not by me. And then the OP clarifies details on the pregnancy scan at 16 and 20 weeks, and she writes, she never had a 16-week scan. She had a 20-week scan that she told us was 16 weeks. As far as I know, that is the only scan she has had. We will do a DNA test via the courts if she tries to pull child support. Where we live, you either need to sign the birth certificate and agree that you're the father to put on CS, or if you disagree, then you need to do a DNA test and it's court ordered. So that would depend on what they do. I am not wasting money on a test when I know 100% already that baby isn't his. And the OP talks about the proper steps of dealing with this whole situation. And the OP says this, we have spoken to a family lawyer, and in our state, Bree can put him on the birth certificate without him signing it. But in order to file for child support, he needs to agree that he is the father, plus be cited as listed on the birth certificate. If he raises a disagreement about being the father, it goes through court and a DNA would be ordered, and that is the last update that we have, unfortunately. Wait, no, it's not! No, it's not, because these updates keep coming out of nowhere. There's 2 more actual final updates. Okay, I'm sorry, but these are the last 2 updates. This has been a hell of a story, or a confession. Let's finish it, let's go. So, update 7. We have a baby. Baby K was born September 1st, 2025, 8 pounds, 4 ounces. So it's about 5 kilo, I think 4 or 5 kilo. She was induced for being post due date. Ollie visited a few hours after the birth with me. Her mother and sister were there when we asked to visit, but were gone when we got there. The whiteboard on the wall that had all the birth details also stated her EDD 0826. Ollie didn't say much. He's very receptive to the fact the baby is most likely not his and still in therapy, but I think he loves Bree and I'm not sure how to navigate that. Ollie went down to the cafe to get us something for her to eat, as her mother had apparently forgotten to bring food. Since it was just us, I took my chance. I asked her about the EDD on the board, nicely. I told her no one is upset with her. I too am wary about the possibility that the home situation is unsafe and she may be trying to escape. I told her Ollie knows already. He has for months. But he's not angry. He's worried, and he even, knowing she lied, he wanted to come here and be with her and the baby. I told her what I know to be the truth as his mother. There was nothing Bree could do that would keep him angry enough to cut her off. She broke. I think it was the fact she was so tired and had just had a baby. The hormones and probably mental load that would come with her lies. I feel a little bad, but I'm glad I asked. Bree admitted to me she knows it's not possible, and she was very, very sorry. She wanted to move back to our city. She didn't want to live with her mother and stepfather anymore. In fact, she never wanted to leave, and her dad had said no, she couldn't live with him. The pregnancy was never planned originally, but she came up with the idea herself when she found out they were coming back for the holidays. I asked who the baby's father was, and she never got to give me an answer, but I think it's the boy from her town. I had asked that directly, and she shrugged, but no confirmation as Ollie came back, and she shut down again. I told Ollie that Bree had made a mistake, and she was sorry, and Ollie said he knew, and it was okay, that the baby was cute regardless, which I laughed at the ridiculousness that is my life. What a childish thing to say. I didn't ask her about her mother knowing or anything. I was cautious not to set her usual defensiveness off. We left not long after, and Ollie and Bree are still talking via text. Ollie right now has asked me not to ask for a DNA, as Bree is struggling with her own mental health, likely most of us do with that hormone shift. That's all I have to update on. And there's some relative comments, and they go, in your last post you mentioned you still do a DNA test for clarity of mind. Is that still in the plans after her confession? And I assume you managed to get last minute plane tickets to get there a few hours after her birth, or you took a super long drive. Being parent is never a easy job. Not even when they're grown-ups. You're doing good, supporting and protecting your son. Take care. We knew her induction. The OP replies, we knew her induction date. This whole thread is all over the place. I'm sorry. The OP replies, we knew her induction date and flew out 2 days prior. I'm not sure on the DNA stuff right now. Ollie wants to leave it as long as she tells everyone it wasn't his baby. For now, I'm just letting things be. I think she is really struggling. And then, is there any chance that the child could be the stepdad's? And the OP replies, a lot of people say this, and no, we do not believe that to be the case. There is a lot of evidence that the baby is the other ex-boyfriend's. I don't think so. I was told he can't have more children, had the snip, but I do believe she's trying to escape the house and return to her father because someone in the house may be a risk. I'm not commenting on that though. I've tried to avoid commenting at all, but I think too many people believe it could be something like that. And I do not believe the stepfather is a danger. My concern has been raised with others. And another commenter writes, it might help to talk to Ollie about love. We often sit our foster kids down and talk to them about love because they have obvious trauma and confusion. If I really love my parents, then I can't care about my foster parents or my foster family, etc. Ollie loves her, and that's okay. He's young, and it's really hard for him because he feels like she is his soulmate, and that he'll never love another person the way he loves her. This is true. The way he loves someone is individual to that person, but love is not finite. Love is generous. We can love many people. We ask our foster kids to make a list of all the people they love, like mum, dad, siblings, grandparents, friends, pets. We even encourage them to add things like internet people and sites, games and toys. It's typically not hard to get them to make the list. Most of them are able to put together at least 10 things pretty quickly, although we do give them the examples like mum, dad, pets, toys. Wow, look at how much love you have. This leads to complex conversations because of situations that create foster kids. But for Ollie, this leads to the conversation that the love he has for the different things on his list are different. It's possible that he may even be able to differentiate between the way he loves his dad and the way he loves his mum. I love the way mum/dad does this for me. Things like teaching him how to dunk a basketball, or hugs, or caring for him when he's sick. Talk to him about how he loves Bob, his best friend, but how his best friend used to be Adam. Does he still love Adam? He may still, but talk to him about how maybe that love has changed over time. Siblings/cousins are also good. When your little sib was born, did that mean that you loved your older sibs less than before? Or did your love grow and you love your little sib just as much as your older sibs? Encourage the conversation about his list and about his love and the way he loves different things on the list. Don't point out that there are differences between the way he loves some things and the way he loves her. This is not the time to point out that his love for her might be more hormonally and chemically driven than the love he has for other things. You need to emphasize that love expands. The love that he has for her is not the last love he'll ever have. It's okay if his love for her changes over time. It's okay to love her. You don't expect him to turn that off. But in your experience, you feel that his love for her will change over time. Don't refer to her as a crush, because Ollie will fight that. Because a crush is different from love in his mind, and what he has is 100% true love in his mind. Too often, teenagers who have never loved anyone romantically believe that the first person they love romantically is their true love or their soulmate, and they will never be able to love anyone the way they love that person. Which is true. The way you love someone is specific to every person. However, the fire of their first love is not the only fire they will ever experience in their entire life. I think it's just important to reassure him that this isn't his only chance. That there may be another love out there for him. It's okay to love her, but also in the future to love someone else. As he gets older, and as time separates him from the situation, there's plenty of opportunities to talk to him about the differences between lust and love. And that true love is built on more than just the chemical rush. Good luck. I feel like you've done a really nice job of handling this situation so far. Ollie is really lucky to have you. That was a comment. That was a whole comment. Really good advice, to be fair. And then there's one more comment on this update, and it goes like this. It's definitely a blessing as a teen mum to be post-induced rather than an early induction due to her age. I hope everyone is doing well, especially your son. I can't imagine how he could be feeling even if he is still contacting Brie. Big props to you, mum, for doing your best at staying steady throughout the whole situation. I will say though, it'd be best for the child to know who their father is. Not that that is any of your concern at this moment, since the timing and everything, and knowing it's not Ollie's child. But I hope Brie and her parents make it a priority to assure the child has a knowing of their biological father. I've seen some stories/cases where that's not the case, and it's a sad outcome in every way. And this is the last update. And it goes like this. We did the DNA test and Brie left home. 10 out of 10. September 19th, Ollie did a DNA test. Brie and baby didn't do their test until last week. There were a few excuses, but honestly most were reasonable. One being that the other boy refused to come and do a test as well. I found out that he, 17, already has a child with another girl in that town who he has also refused to do a test for. That other girl was contacted by Brie and willing to DNA her baby, who was only 5 months old, to see if they're siblings. Our DNA test came back as expected yesterday. Ollie is not the father. We don't know about the other results, if they are back or if they were positive, or even if they were even done. Ollie and Brie have drifted since last month. He's focusing on school and sports, has a new girlfriend, which we did not appreciate at first. He had hidden it until his therapist spoke to us about it. He showed his friends the test results in hopes he would get back to their parents too, but it seems his reputation has been tainted regardless. Brie moved out of home 3 weeks after baby was born, unsure where to exactly, but she's living with a friend and her mum in her town. Her mother and stepfather kicked her out apparently, and her biological father does not have stable housing for children. What a crap storm this has been. Ollie turns 16 this month, and I'm hoping this is all behind us now for good. And the top comments on this last update, there's only 3. They go like this. Who did she put as the father on the birth certificate? The OP replies, I don't believe anyone. It wasn't Ollie. And then there's another commenter, and they say, your son is incredibly lucky to have had you stand up for him as you have been through this whole ordeal. But I also feel really bad for the young lady, going through all of this without paternal support. Feeling like she has had no options other than helping your son set up this whole contrived situation. Her life is going to be that much more difficult moving forward. The whole situation sucks, but I'm grateful your son won't be carrying the burden of it. And then another commenter writes as last comment, I hope life settles for all involved. What a wild journey your family has been through. I feel bad for all the children involved. I really wonder about Brie. Is her home life absolutely terrible? How sad for her to feel the need to leave with a newborn baby. And that is the last update. What a saga. It was written really strangely, so I'm sorry if I stumbled. And there were a couple updates hidden from me, so I didn't know it was going to be this long. But that is that. Gosh dang, bro. That was long. Right. Let's get into the next one. My husband's childhood best friend asked me for a favor, then humiliated me in front of her family. I'm done being the bigger person. I've been sitting on this for a few days, trying to decide if I'm just being dramatic or if I've been letting too much slide for too long. So I, 30F, have been happily married for a few years now. My husband, 31M, is honestly a gem. Kind, patient, hilarious, loyal, basically everything you'd want. Which, after having an ex cheat on me with his best friend, is kind of a big deal. That relationship wrecked me for a while, but I worked hard not to drag the wreckage into something new. And my husband? And thankfully, my husband's never given me a single reason to question him. Until now. Maybe. I do not know. My husband and I have a great relationship, and we're pretty social and often hang out with each other's friends. I get along with almost all of his group, and they've honestly made me feel welcome. Except for her. His childhood best friend. Let's call her Claire. Claire has always been cold to me. Not outright rude, just subtle enough to make me feel crazy for noticing. You know that kind of vibe? Every time we've been in the same room, she's managed to talk around me, not to me. I tried, I really did. I've smiled, made conversation, been nothing but warm, even when she's given me nothing to work with. She doesn't show up to group hangouts, but she'll invite him over, and he always tells me to his credit. He never goes without mentioning it, and he's never weird or secretive about it, but it still rubs me the wrong way. I've tried being friendly. I've tried small talk. Hell, I invited her to our birthdays, barbecues, engagement dinner. She bailed on all. She skipped our wedding too, and she only ever seems to reach out to him, usually when she's just been dumped and needs to talk. When I've brought it up, my husband says I'm overthinking it, that Claire is just a little odd socially. Maybe she is. Then, a few weeks ago, out of nowhere, she messaged me. She asked if I'd model for her project, totally unexpected, and I was caught off guard enough to say yes. Part of me thought maybe this is her trying to connect. Maybe this was her olive branch. I even felt a little hopeful. God, I was naive. So I agreed. My husband offered to come with me since he hadn't seen her in a while and thought it'd be fun to catch up after. When we got there, her family was also involved. and from the second I walked in, it was like stepping into some passive-aggressive Twilight Zone. Her mum and sister kept calling my husband our son-in-law. I laugh awkwardly, think I must have misheard. It only got worse. During the shoot came more of the sneaky comments. Jokes about the one that got away and some bonds never fade. Her mum at one point literally said, "We always thought Claire would end up with him, but life has its detours, I guess." Claire always imagined walking down the aisle with him. And then, it's sweet of her to fill in though. Oh, come on, I wish I was exaggerating. And Claire just kept snapping pics, smiling, saying nothing. No, hey, cut it out. No awkward laugh, no redirect. Nothing. My husband, clearly uncomfortable. I watched him fidget through the whole thing, clear his throat a few times. He tried to change the subject or came nearby me during the shooting. He didn't say much either, just went kinda quiet. I stuck it out for an hour, let her take her photos, smiled, posed, whatever. But the whole time I felt like I was part of a social experiment, and everyone else was in on the joke but me. When we got in the car, he was silent for a while, then finally said, "Sorry about that all. That was weird, right?" And honestly, I didn't even know what to say because, yeah, it was weird. It was borderline disrespectful. And the fact that he was there, saw all of it, clearly felt it too, and still didn't step in or pull the plug, it makes me feel kind of alone in this. I'm just tired. Tired of pretending this woman is harmless or just awkward. She knows exactly what she's doing. I don't want to start a huge fight, but I'm at the point where I don't want her in our lives. Not as a friend, not as a ghost in the corner of our marriage. No more bending over backwards to be the cool wife. I'm not interested in earning points with someone who clearly doesn't want me around. Anyway, thanks for letting me scream into the void for a minute. I really need to get this out. And then there's an edit saying, "Sorry guys, English is not my first or even second language. Sometimes it's harder to get my points/feelings across." By the way, she wrote this better than that other long ass post, so just nothing to worry about. Just to clarify a few things people were asking about. Claire is actually a photography major, and this shoot was part of her final project. I'm not a professional model or anything, but I've done some hobby modeling here and there. So when she asked if I'd help out, I thought it was a casual favor. Why at her house? She comes from a wealthy family and has a fully set up photo studio in their house, which is why the shoot happened there instead of at a regular studio. I honestly thought it'd just be her and the camera, not a full audience with drinks and commentary. Additional background. I grew up in a pretty emotionally abusive household, so I think I've gotten too used to passive-aggressive comments and just sort of freeze up. Maybe that's why I didn't react more in the moment. But yeah, it definitely hit harder after the fact. I will update you as soon as possible. Thank you for all your comments. And speaking of comments, there are some relevant comments, and they go like this. Somebody writes, "Borderline disrespectful, question mark. I'd hate to see what you actually think is disrespectful." And the OP replies, "Wow, reading your comment, and honestly so many others, has really helped me just to see how not okay the whole situation was. I think I was so used to brushing off this kind of behavior that I didn't even realize how deeply disrespected I was. I grew up in an emotionally abusive household, where snide comments and passive aggression were just part of the background noise. So when someone pulls that kind of crap now, I think a part of me automatically minimizes it like, oh, I've heard worse. But reading all your reactions kind of snapped me out of that. And yeah, it hurts that my husband didn't shut it down. I've been trying to rationalize it in my head, like maybe he didn't want to escalate things because it felt like a trap, or that he's not used to being in these kind of situations. None of that excuses it though, not even a little. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow. Really talk. Not brush it off, not laugh it away. Just lay it all out, because at this point, I need to know where he stands. Thanks for the reality check. I needed it more than I realized." Someone else writes, gotta be honest, the whole modeling session photography stuff sounds 100% unbelievable. That doesn't even make sense. At all. Are you a model? Is she a photographer? Why a photo shoot in their home? Why all the family members there? That's not how photo shoots work, really. And the OP replies, yeah, honestly, I get why it sounds off. I probably would have side-eyed the whole thing too if I wasn't living it in real time. So no, I'm not a professional model. She just needed someone for a thesis project. And I've done a little hobby modeling here and there. So I figured it was casual enough to help out. I guess she didn't want to go through the trouble of hiring someone last minute. As for the location, Claire comes from money. Like, money. They'd converted part of their house into a kind of makeshift studio for her to work in, with lighting, backdrops, the whole deal. So that's where we did it, which I didn't think was too weird until I got there and her whole family was hanging around like it was dinner theatre, drinking wine, making snide comments, just watching. It was honestly awkward as hell. I definitely wasn't expecting that. I thought it would just be her and a camera, not a whole audience and running commentary. And then there's an update, and it goes like this. A quick recap for those who missed the original. My husband's childhood best friend, Claire, has never liked me. She skipped all invitations, but invites my husband alone, avoids me in person, and still finds little ways to insert herself into his life. The final straw, she asked me to model for her final photography project. I showed up thinking maybe it was a fresh start. No. Instead, I got publicly mocked by her family, who joked out loud that she should have been the one marrying my husband. First off, holy crap, I did not expect the post to blow up like it did. Thank you to everyone who commented, messaged, or just made me feel like I wasn't losing my mind. So many of you asked for an update, and here it is. For those wondering, no, they never dated. He had a high school crush on her for over a decade ago. That's ancient history. No, I don't think he's ever cheated, emotionally or physically. He's always very open and honest. We have each other's passwords. They barely see each other anymore in person, maybe once every few months. We live about 2 hours away. So, here we go. Here's the update. Okay, so here's the update. Funny enough, I didn't even get the chance to sit down and talk to my husband before something else happened. I just can't believe my life at this moment. Anyway, I was still trying to process what happened and sort through my anger towards Claire, and honestly, towards my husband too. That's when I got a message from my sister-in-law. We'll call her Madeline. I'm really close with Madeline. She's also part of the wider social circle that Claire floats around. They're friendly, but not close. She sent me a screen recording from Claire's close friend story with a simple WTF ? It was a clip of me posing during the shoot. No music, but in the background you can clearly hear Claire's sister say Claire should have been the one to marry him. I lost it. I waited until my husband got home from work, sat him down and showed him the video. He watched it once, then again. His whole face changed. He finally looked pissed. I could not help but think, why didn't he have the same reaction there? So I laid it all out. I told him everything. Every snide comment, every time Claire made me feel small, how I'd always tried to be civil, how I never asked him to choose between us, but I was done being polite while someone consistently disrespected me. I told him, if this doesn't bother you enough to act, we've got a bigger problem. I'm not going to be in a marriage where I have to beg to be defended. I need a partner who stands up for me. And if that's not you, then I need to rethink this. He didn't argue, didn't get defensive, and I know he feels sorry. Then I showed him the Reddit post. He tried to read every comment. Some of them made him tear up. When he finished, he looked at me and said that he feels like the worst husband. He let this happen right in front of him. He's so sorry and asked him, what do you need from me now? I told him straight up, this isn't just about her anymore. It's about whether or not you're willing to protect this marriage. but I'm not going to feel like I'm second place in my own relationship. So it's either me or her. So we called Claire. She picked up all cheerful, acting like nothing had happened. We brought up the video. She immediately got defensive. Oh, come on, it was just a joke. Are you really mad over that? Seriously? And that's when he stepped in. This isn't just about the video. It's the constant disrespect towards my wife. I didn't say anything before because I didn't want to lose your friendship. And I convinced myself you didn't mean it. But what happened at that shoot, that was disgusting. My wife came to support you and your family treated her like a joke. I didn't speak up then, and I'm ashamed of that. But that ends now. I don't even know why I held on to this friendship for so long. If you can't respect my wife, you don't respect me. She laughed. Literally laughed. Wow, you really cut me off over that girl? OMG, I was ready to fight, but husband calmed me down. Said to Claire, if choosing between you and my wife ever felt like a hard decision, I wouldn't deserve her. We're not kids anymore. You need to grow up. I simply do not want to be your friend anymore. I have nothing else to say. Telling you he can be a gem sometimes. But yeah, we blocked her and her entire family. Since then, he's been checking in with me, not trying to fix things, just showing up, listening, understanding. He finally sees what I've been dealing with. We've still got some healing to do, but now I know where he stands. And that changes everything for me. To everyone who commented last time, thank you seriously. You helped me feel like I wasn't crazy, and maybe even more importantly, you helped him finally see it too. And that is the last we hear from the OP. Really weird things are happening to me. 22F. Not sure if it's an elaborate prank or if I'm seriously mentally ill. Okay. I've never ever felt the need to post it, but I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't even know where to start. My mind is so jumbled. I guess it started 2 weeks ago at work. I work in a factory, but I don't do the labor. I'm more of a spreadsheet maker / book balancer / secretary type thing. Really informal, but it's my uncle's company and I needed a job, yada yada, good pay. I was sitting at my desk with nothing to do and I hear my boss, not my uncle, just another co-worker and a friend of his, go, Phil sighs as he looks at the weather. I look up like, huh? And he looks at me like, huh? He didn't say anything. I was like, that's weird, but oh well. Anyway. And then the next day, I was talking to some co-workers on the floor, asking them work stuff, and one of them called me a B-word, but when I called him out, him and everyone else looked at me like I was insane. I apologized, and we all laughed it off. Factory's loud, right? People mishear things all the time. Except I was at Walmart, class, and one of the workers there was putting away stock, and I swear to God he looked straight at me and said, the chicken was just killed. But I asked him what he meant, and I felt so bad because he looked so confused and like I was crazy. He didn't even open his mouth apparently. Crap like this has been happening so much, my friend even pulled me aside to ask if I was okay. Small things are happening too. My boyfriend says he's making salmon for dinner. I hear him preparing salmon. I smell salmon, and then he brings it out and it's lasagna. I asked him what the salmon was, and he was like, what? I said lasagna tonight, and brushed it off like I'm being silly. I could have sworn this one shirt I owned was green and not teal. Crap is changing and people are saying stuff, but they're not. People are narrating their lives sometimes. There's no way my friends could be pranking me, not when random people on the street are doing this too. I'm so scared. I don't want to be thrown in a mental hospital, not trying to offend mentally ill people. I'm so scared. I feel like my mind is slowly melting. TLDR, people keep saying things they aren't actually saying, and I think I'm going insane. And then there's some relevant comments to this. One commenter says, you should go to the doctor, not just because there might be a physical or mental issue going on that needs to be addressed, but also so you can get an answer of what is going on. Don't keep yourself in limbo. That will drive you insane. Doctors aren't your enemy. And even if there's a mental issue going on, that doesn't automatically mean you get thrown into a mental hospital just like that. You've probably been around more people with mental disorders than you realize. And the vast majority of them can live a relatively normal life and live independently with some medical and or psychiatric help. Go to the doctor, they're the professionals here. And then the OP replies, "Thank you, I'm in Canada and I made an appointment with my doctor. It'll be a week before I see her though. I can't believe how much this blew up. It happened again last night. Boyfriend said he was going to the bar. I shower and come out and ask why he's still here. Because I live here? I thought you were going to the bar. No. Maybe I'll go to the ER if this keeps happening." And then somebody else replies, comments saying, "Not to terrify OP, but this happened to my mother as well, and it was a brain tumor for her. This seriously calls for a doctor as soon as possible." And then another commenter says, "Yep, sounds pretty similar to a friend. Go get it checked out. It's scary. But my friend, she's doing a whole lot better now." And then there's an update 5 days later, and it goes like this. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I never could have ever in my wildest imagination that my last post would get this much attention. I was on my boyfriend's Reddit account on his phone and actually saw my post near the first page. I was floored. Then he saw what I was looking at and he had a pretty awkward conversation. Basically asked me why I posted something like that. He'd read it, but only when he saw me on the page, it clicked that he saw the same username on my laptop on Reddit. He never imagined it was me. I did change some details about my life in the last post. So we talked for a long time, and finally he said that he was taking me to emergency. I didn't want to go, I just wanted to wait for my appointment. Not because I didn't think it was serious, but because I had no clue how to explain what was happening to the doctors and nurses, especially for it to warrant an emergency visit. So we went, and he was very understanding. Just asked me how much I remember from the past couple of days. Stuff he said, and stuff I'd apparently heard. We were both scared, haha. I go to emergency, very slow. I live in a smallish town, but we have a giant hospital for some reason. We're close to a lot of other towns, and they use our hospital. Close to Toronto too. Anyway, it was slow. Just one father with a sick child. I went in and basically had to explain what was happening, and honestly, the nurses were like, "WTF, this B is crazy." But when I saw a doctor, he took me very, very seriously. It was very nice. He wrote down basically everything I said. I got some x-rays and they asked me questions. You know the whole spiel. Anyway, the point of this update was to tell you guys that I have a tumor. That's really scary writing out, but I have a tumor in my brain. It hasn't sunken in yet that tomorrow my brain is going to be under the knife. I don't want to share more because I've gotten a lot of messages from people who are like guessing my name and where I'm from. Apparently I remind people of their friends or crazy exes. I'm scared to miss work, but my boss was more than understanding. He sort of looked at me like I was insane when I asked how long I should be out of work. I don't know, I need to pay rent. We'll figure it out. Thank you all for your love and support. I will update whenever I remember to. I'm scared, but alive. TLDR, I have a tumor and I'm getting surgery. Thanks. And then the OP makes an update. Am I allowed to make an update here? I don't use social media much anymore, and Reddit looks completely different than the last time I logged in. My friend sent me this because immediately after it was posted, it asked if it was me. It was so long ago, and this update is, 10 years later. So this update right now that I'm reading, it's 10 years later. Yeah, the OP says, it was so long ago, I kind of cringe seeing how I wrote, but I'll give myself some flack because I was young and going through a terrible time. That boyfriend didn't last long. He bailed when he found out how long my recovery would be and what it entailed. I moved back in with my family, who were all nurses and caregivers, so it was really the smoothest recovery I could have had. I did years of therapy, both physical and mental. I did eventually end up losing my factory job, but that honestly wasn't their fault. Admittedly, I no-showed to work a lot and was spiraling for a few years, but I eventually landed on my feet. Found my dream man, lumberjack type, sorry for being a Canadian stereotype, and his mother had gone through almost the same thing I did when she was younger, so we really bonded over that. I won't say I'm having a perfect time. Life is life. I'm child-free, have a job I tolerate, have money to spend on my friends and family, and I'm generally very happy. I keep off social media because I've survived a brain tumor. I'm not looking for more. And for Americans who are going to ask, yes, it was free. And that is the last we hear from the OP. My 23F boyfriend 23M of 3 years stealthily took my 11-year-old dog to a vet 80 kilometers away to be put to sleep. I was only lucky I found out and got him back. Boyfriend doesn't know I have my dog back, but he comes back tomorrow night. My boyfriend, Jay, left for a trip up the coast to help family on Friday morning. While I was at work, Friday I got a phone call from one of my ex-flatmates, Bob, who I lived with at uni. He thought he had my dog with him and phoned me because someone had dropped him off to the vet surgery he worked at to be put to sleep. Bob sent me pictures and it was my Stixie. I'd recognize him anywhere. I grew up with him and he was so close to me when I left home to study there with no questions about it. Stixie stayed with me. Bob kept Stixie with him and I drove to pick him up as soon as I was out of work. Bob also showed me a phone recording he took of the vet's security camera screen, and there's no doubt in the world it's Jay dropping him off. He's even wearing the same clothes he left in this morning before I went to work. Jay has texted me a few times today and I don't know why, but I'm not confronting him about this. I'm actually scared I will utterly lose it at him. I'm running everything through my head on why he'd do this. We talked sometimes about moving north to be nearest family or overseas within a few years. I can't believe I'm trying to find reasons for him to do what he did, or reasons for me to not rip him a new one and dump everything he owns out on the front lawn and set it on fire tonight. I'm half numb and half stunned beyond rational thought. Why can't I get functionally angry here? He texted me this morning like he normally does when he's away. I replied like normal though, we're not big text talkers anyway. He asked me a couple of times if I was okay. Everything in the text I'm trying to read into what the hell he thinks he's doing. TLDR, boyfriend dropped my loved dog off to a vet to be put down without telling me. I'm utterly infuriated to the point I'm frozen and thinking in circles. What the hell do I do? Can I call the police? Was that illegal? I don't ever want to see him again. I have no family here. I don't know which way to even begin to turn. Boyfriend doesn't arrive back until about 7 tomorrow night. And then there's some relevant comments, and they go like this. Well, that's terrifying. Do you have a place, a friend's maybe, where you and Stixie can stay for a bit while you get this sorted out? And by this, I mean your new living situation, because you really can't continue to live with the guy who just tried to kill your dog behind your back. And the OP replies, thank you for your comment, I do. At least 2 co-workers would be okay with me contacting them. I want people around me when he comes back. I wish I could make sure he knows he's no longer welcome in this home, nor can he come back and he's got to go immediately. But I also know by bitter experience with a friend that kicking someone out of the dwelling they live in is a long process. And then the OP reposted this in a different Reddit, in a different subreddit. She basically says the same things and then says, how illegal is this? I currently live in a flat that I rent, and my boyfriend pays half, but I'm the only one on the lease. I want him out ASAP. I want to be out of this situation as soon as possible. What options do I have? A friend of mine once tried to have a violent ex removed and it took months. I want to be out of this immediately. Are my only options to move? How do I protect myself from what my boyfriend, ex to me, now though he doesn't know it yet, may do to the place I rent when I return? I presume my landlord couldn't kick him out if I leave right away. He's never shown any weird tendencies before, so maybe I'm overthinking this. My boyfriend doesn't know I know what he did, nor that I have Stixie back. Sorry for the scattergun of questions. I'm scatterbrained at the moment, and he only returns in 20 hours or so, and I don't ever want to see so much as a hair on his head again. And then there's some relevant comments, and this one says, not legal advice, keep your dog somewhere else. If he has access to him, who knows what else will happen. Someone else replies to that saying, seconded. Can you afford to board him or have a trusted family member watch him until this douchebag is gone? And I would call that vet to report what he did if your friend has him. It might not help you now, but they should be aware. And someone replies to that saying, and then ask where the dog is and see how much he's going to lie about it. And then the OP added in the comments of the first post saying, just got off the phone with my workmate. She's offered to come here tonight and she'll be here soon. We'll figure out what to do in the morning. I really appreciate all your posting. It only took reading a few to take myself out of the stupid stalled state of mind and move into action. It's after midnight here. I'm going to crash hard tonight. And then there's an update. And it goes like this. A night's sleep with good people around helped me. I phoned a workmate to see if I could stay there with Stixie, and she came over here for the night instead. We spoke, and we have a plan. Thank you for the links to NSW laws. It looks like I might be in the clear with forcing my ex out. I am the renter, I am the only name on the lease, and we had no written agreement. From my understanding, he's a boarder or lodger and can be removed quickly. I'll have to clarify, of course, but that gives me confidence. I was freaking out because I didn't know where to start last night. My ex will be confronted with more people I know in the house backing me up. Stixie is also in good health. He's 11 and a bit too fat and slower than he used to be, but he's fine. These photos are from early November when we visited a property out of town. He started life as a farm dog and going back made his day. And then here's some images of the dog, I think. Yeah. And then the OP puts another edit saying, he's not microchipped. I'm taking a personal leave day Monday and getting him chipped first thing. And then there's a final update and it goes like this. He came back. He lied. I was upset and looked it. We gave him enough rope to make excuse after changing excuse. First he was shocked Stixie was gone and would help look for him. Then he was shocked someone took him to a vet to be put down. Then, when confronted with proof it was him, he claimed Stixie was hit by a car and he had to end this suffering. When confronted with a live, happy Stixie, he turned it around and it ended with him telling me he should have been put down. My co-worker and her partner and I told him he was not welcome in the house anymore and that they were moving in with me. And everyone in the house and the neighbor we both get on well with, who saw him return on Friday to take Stixie, now knows what kind of person he was. He left on his own accord and took some of his stuff. I'm no closer to knowing for sure why he tried what he did. Sorry for jamming up legal advice with this one. It wasn't much of a legal ending. And that is the final post from the OP. Okay guys, that's everything. These were pretty crazy. That long one was, it was good, but it was, it was written so rough, so harsh to read. So I'm sorry again about how hard it was to listen to. I can't imagine it was nice to listen to that, but I tried a couple of times and that's the best I could get out of that. It was definitely hard, but what did you guys think? What did you guys think of these 5 confessions? Let me know in the comments, please. I love reading all your comments. If you check all the previous videos, I respond to all the comments. I love and I like them all. And your guys' comments, your criticisms of what you like, what you don't like, your praises, your scrutiny, I guess. I love it. I love it all. It makes me better, and then I can deliver you the best content possible. So let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like. Also, we're 150 subscribers away from the goal. 1,500 subscribers. I think we can do it. See a lot of people watching the videos, but they're not subscribed. But I love the support. I'm really grateful for the support. Thank you very much. And I'll keep bringing these if you guys like them. So let me know you like them by commenting, liking, subscribing, all that good jazz. And yeah, right. I'll leave you alone now. Go watch my other videos if you already haven't, please. And enjoy yourselves. Have a nice day. Have a nice night. I'll see you later. Yeah. Bye.